Hey everyone, my presentation is on my trip to Italy last summer. This will be a few minutes, hopefully filled with commentary I think is slightly amusing. To give a little context to this trip, we were coming off of less than 2 hours of sleep for 48 hours, so as you can tell, we were in pretty good shape. So it was only fitting to make the worst decision of our trip on the first day. We had decided to go to Pompeii and we had two options, either take a nice comfortable tour bus or take the train with all the locals heading to the beach and get the full experience. Pro tip, take the bus. The train ride was like 2 or 3 hours of feeling like a sardine, with a bunch of Italian grandmas screaming at the top of their lungs for people to make room. After that exhausting first day, we went to see the Vatican and St. Peter's Basilica. It was absolutely stunning, as you can see in this picture, and by going early we had no wait at the front. In contrast, when we left, the line to get in was as far as we could see. And don't miss climbing to the top of the chapel. The view of the city is absolutely stunning. After we reached the top of the chapel, we got this really cool view of the procession that was happening, and everyone thought that the Pope was there, which I doubt, but either way, it was fun to see. We headed next to the Vatican museums. Honestly, if you can, save the museums for another day and get in early. At first, everything is fine, but then you get to this one stretch of hallways where the rooms are packed to capacity, and you're back to feeling like a sardine. Nevertheless, it was amazing to see all the art pieces in the museum. I used to find museums really boring, but I actually kind of like them. Here you see a nice photo of the famous staircase inside the museum. Honestly, I have a feeling that the city is trying to get me fit because of all the stairs. I mean, accepting the fact that my diet while in Italy consisted of straight carbs. Here we have a picture of me in front of the altar of the fatherland. This picture is a perfect example of a point I want to drive home for all of you in your tourism endeavors. Go early. This site is usually packed to the brim, but it was completely empty when we first got there. Also, starting your day early means that you'll be done with all your exploration for the day by the time everyone else is about to die from heat exhaustion in the beaming afternoon heat. Our next destination was the Roman Forum. Yes, I know, that is the Colosseum, not the Forum. But what I found while at the Forum is that there's this back area behind the entry gates where you get this nice view of the Colosseum, usually all to yourself. You also get to see a crowd of people below shoving past each other trying to get into the Colosseum. But first, the food. We were all hungry at this point and we found a really amazing cafe tucked away a couple blocks from the Colosseum. I recommend avoiding food close to attractions because they have pumped up prices and not authentic food. But this place was amazing, and we proceeded to buy portion after portion until our bellies were quite full. We finally got to the Colosseum, and here's us inside. The Colosseum was really cool, and it was amazing to see the underground portion where many intricate systems were. However, we didn't stay there long because the crowds were ramping up, and the afternoon heat was really killing us at this point. But this site is definitely one you have to check off the bucket list. The next day we headed to the Pantheon, which was amazing but also a lot smaller than we expected. We were in and out in less than 15 minutes, which was actually nice because we were tired from all the previous long days of tourism. So for the rest of the day, we decided to take it pretty easy. The only other place we went that day were the Spanish Steps, which was about a 20-minute walk from our hotel. It was a really fun area with a lot of street performers and vendors who were selling many tasty snacks. It was a great place to end the day, especially as the sun was setting over the horizon. For our last day in Rome, we decided to deviate from the tourist sites and explore a local neighborhood. Even though it was just a few blocks away from the crowded areas, it was very picturesque and peaceful to walk around. The locals were very nice, and it was a great change of pace. Not to mention, it almost felt like a movie with the breeze blowing, the birds chirping, and the streets glowing with the afternoon sun. To end our day, we took a walk around a park near our hotel. Since our hotel was pretty far from all the main attractions, the park was full of locals enjoying the weather, as well as musicians playing entrancing musical instruments. They even had a gravel track and a field inside where people were exercising. We couldn't think of a more perfect way to end our time in Rome. Next, we were headed to Florence, but first a quick stop at Pisa to see the Leaning Tower. I must admit I was quite disappointed and sad when I first read this graffiti. I couldn't believe that the one day I had to see the Leaning Tower, it had decided to simply not lean. Fortunately, I was soon to find this message was a hoax, and was happy to find that the tower was, in fact, leaning. In Florence, our first stop was the Uffizi Gallery. Displayed now, many of you may recognize this art piece titled The Birth of Venus. Going off on a little tangent here, but you see, as of recent, I have found I have more time on my hands. So I decided to clean my room. And as I was cleaning, I found my old sketchbook. And now behold, 8-year-old Dina's version of the Birth of Venus. Yes, I know it's good. I must say it was the work of a young budding artist. But all jokes aside, the artwork in this gallery was breathtaking, even for myself, who knows next to nothing about art techniques and the time and patience it takes to create such masterpieces. We spent the rest of the day wandering around the city, and we found some pretty cool places, like a church with almost everything covered in gold. We ended our day here, at the Cathedral of Santa Maria del Fiore, which was so tall I had to take a vertical panorama of it. This last shot of Florence is just a picture of the entire city from Michelangelo's Plaza. We ended up here after touring the Boboli Gardens, which is definitely worth the entrance fee. I just wanted to show this picture because it shows the magnificence and complexity of this amazing city all in one shot. Our last stop of the trip was Venice. This place is like no other. Since there are no cars, it's kind of surreal how you can just walk everywhere without worrying about getting run over. This picture here is the main canal, which goes along many of the most famous sites in Venice. Probably my favorite experience here was going to the fish market. The food and fish was legitimately the best I've ever tasted in my life. It was almost magical to eat such great food with an amazing view from our Airbnb balcony. We are definitely going to rent more Airbnbs from now on, because most of the time they are a lot bigger and cheaper than hotels, not to mention the great local feel you get from staying in them. All in all, this was a perfect way to end our 2 weeks in Italy. Thank you all for watching!